Hey guys, welcome to the video. So the DJI Mini 2, I've had this now for 2 months, just short of 2 months. What do I think of it? Would I still buy it? Would I recommend it to you? Let's find out. So I've had this now, as you've seen, I've done loads of videos, different tests on this drone. Is this drone that I still recommend to you? So I'm going to be breaking this video down into different sections. We'll talk about the good points, the bad points, and then is it still a good drone, or have DJI messed this drone up? So let's get the bad points out the way first of all. So I would say the bad points on this drone, fortunately there aren't many. There have been software related, firmware related problems. When this drone first came out, I don't know if you saw on forums or on Google, there was several problems with this drone relating to the signal and the battery life. It wasn't just this drone, but it was due to a firmware update which DJI released, which affected both this drone and the original DJI Mini 1. The Mavic Mini 1 as they now call it. They fixed that problem in firmware updates, and then the drone then had better signal performance, could get a better range, and the battery life was good. So at that point I was doing loads of tests. The 4K 30 was a much bigger and better increase than that first drone. The signal with the new OcuSync 2.0 is mind-blowingly different compared to that first DJI Mini. If you're in an urban environment with that first DJI Mini 1, and you would fly maybe 300-400 meters, you would then get loss of signal, and if you made it that far, you were doing well. This drone can get so much further, but that signal is better. So it's not all about how far you can get with this drone, it's about how that OcuSync 2.0 performs, and is it actually better? Do you get a better stable signal? And with this drone, you do. So that was good, until around about December time, version 1.17. That just, as you saw from the video, the release day was meant to be really good, affected even more and increase the performance of the signal is what it said, significantly improve that signal. And I got it, took it out, and I was like, what the hell have you done? The battery life was diabolical, the signal was constant dropping out, people reporting that the drone was just cutting out, the app was crashing, the signal was awful. But to DJI's credit, they released another firmware update 2 days later, and that was 1.2.0, and that fixed the battery life, it fixed the signal, and it also gave you now 2.7K in 60 frames per second. So that was excellent, that was really good. But the thing that was still happening was on the drone, instead of flying in a straight line, there was getting lots of reports of that drone drifting to the side and just drifting in different directions, even in really low wind. And the drone was drifting, and it hadn't been drifting at all until these firmware updates. So what did DJI do again? Release another firmware update. Now that firmware update is still out now. I've done videos on it which I'm going to post here, so go and check that video out. And so far that has fixed majority of the problems. So this drone itself is an excellent drone. It's the firmware updates which DJI are putting out for this drone aren't necessarily good. They're affecting the actual capabilities of this drone and making it worse in some aspects. We have gained though from these firmware updates some extra features. So you can now zoom into photos, which is good. You've got that 2.7K 60 for slowing down the footage. So DJI are thinking about this, and it is good to see that they are keep pumping out these firmware updates. The latest version, which is currently now in January, version 1.2.1 has addressed all them problems. So on the latest flights I've done, the battery life is up to speed again, the signal is really good, and we don't have any more drift. The only thing that we do have, which is controversial, is we've got a new compass. So the compass icon now, which used to have on the bottom of the screen, which is a little red icon, that's gone. We've now got an attitude indicator in the bottom left hand side, and that shows you the pitch and the control of the drone. But there's also a little compass icon on it as well, which doesn't work for me, and for a lot of other people that's still faulty, so that still needs fixing. It works for some people but not a lot. In the recent video though, what's happened is, unfortunately it's only happened once, is that when I was flying this drone, the app just completely crashed and just turned off. So I had to then quickly scroll back on, go back onto the app, and fortunately the app just came back on and it connected straight back to the drone. But a really scary moment, and not one that you expect. But as I said, this has never happened before. So the firmware updates seem to be really inconsistent and they need to be better, need to be tested better before they're put out. These are almost like beta testings of firmware updates and they need before they're put out to the public. So the firmware updates, not good. But that said, this drone, I would say, is the most enjoyable, fun, portable drone I've owned, and I've had different DJI drones over the last few years, and this is excellent. You can just pick this up without thinking about it, put it in your pocket, and away you go. This is so small, it is smaller than most mobile phones. It's actually smaller than the new controller that you get, which we'll get onto in a minute. And it's for those occasions where you're thinking, should I take my drone or not? It's just with me all the time. I actually put this in a little case, which is actually a headphone case. Just keep it with me, keep it in the bag or the car, or as he said, it's small enough to go inside of your pocket. Not a problem. It's never had any impact whatsoever on the drone performance. Excellent, portable, fun little drone. Really good. I really like the 4K 30 on this drone. I think it produces a really nice crisp looking image. If you're going to be flying over something where you can get really nice smooth slow-mo, say cars or the sea or people, and you want to slow them down, or something moving fast, 2.7K 60 allows you to slow that down. So that's a really good addition, something we've now got on this drone. The battery life, 31 minutes, it's saying if you're going to be flying it near to, you'll average around about 20-21 minutes. In sports mode, I think I got 11 minutes from sports mode. So yeah, still good for this drone. I wish it was a bit better, but for the size of this drone, remember this is 249 grams. If you think back a couple of years ago, the drone this size with the DJI Spark used to get about 10 minutes out of that. So this is really good considering the size of this drone. Around about 20 odd minutes battery life. You're never going to get 30 unless you're in perfect indoor weather conditions, like when it would have been tested by DJI, not outdoors in real world. So moving on, if you're going to be picking this drone up in the UK, you've now got several restrictions which I've done a whole new video on, so I'm not going to go over that too much, but it basically relates to if your drone is under 250 grams, there aren't as many restrictions as long as you keep safe, follow the guidelines, do the online test, register it, all that. But that said, this drone being 249 grams, you have a lot less restrictions. So you're able to fly in more areas. You're able to now fly over people under 50 meters. Make sure you're keeping it safe, but you're able to have a lot less restrictions than on the bigger drones such as the Mavic Air. So that's a really good thing with this. You're also able to fly in residential areas, which are called recreational areas, over parks. Again, keeping it safe, making sure you adhere to people's privacy, but you can't do that. You've got to be within 150 meters on the Mavic Air, Mavic Pro, any drone over 250 grams. But if it's under 250 like this, you can fly over residential areas, keeping it safe. So the new controller on the Mavic Mini is excellent. It's a bit big, but I really do like it. You've now got the push out the top here to put your phone at the top, so it's no longer on the bottom. Quite a thick, heavy controller, but it feels really well made. You've got the joystick slots at the bottom, they just pull out and then you put them on the top here, but you don't need the antennas anymore. So this is the same controller that you get Mavic Air 2. This is the same controller, so this is really good. The battery life lasts so long, it's excellent. I've got 3 bars and I've not charged this for a couple of weeks. So they're really good. You can also charge your phone with this as well. So if you're out and your phone battery is quite low, just connect this up here to your phone. On the software, you can click phone charging, it will then charge your phone. So I think this controller is really good. Hopefully the next one, it might be a bit smaller, but I do prefer this than the old one. And the OcuSync and the connection that you get between these two, really good. So I did in the previous video when I said 2 weeks later for this drone, what would I recommend? And back then we didn't have all the restrictions. And I said, just go for the normal package because 200 quid difference, you could get the Air 2. Now that's changed now because of these restrictions. If you're in the UK, I don't recommend any other drone other than this, the DJI Mini 2. So get the Fly More combo. I'll link it in the description below. It's going to give you extra batteries. So the only thing with this battery life is it just goes pretty quick if you're quite far away or in sports mode. So having some extra batteries will being able to get it back, put the new battery in, and away you go. You can charge this with a USB charger on the go, but just to have those extra batteries, I think this is the only drone you're going to need now. So get more batteries for it and keep this drone, brilliant drone, last you a couple of years until the next DJI Mini comes out, the 3 or the 4. But this is going to last you a couple of years at least. Get some really nice shots with it, portable, no problem, excellent. So in conclusion, if I'm going to recommend this drone 2 months later, would I say this drone is still worth buying? 100% it is, yes. As long as DJI don't keep messing up these firmware updates, this drone is the best drone you can possibly get now in the UK. I know there are better drones with more features, but for everyday use, you don't need anything else than this. I've tested the others, but for decent footage as a consumer, as long as you're not doing it for work, professional work, where you're wanting that better, bigger sensor for a bit higher quality photos and videos. But unless you're going to be pixel peeping in, it really doesn't make much difference. So if most people will buy this drone as either their first drone or a drone for just having some fun with, taking photos and videos of yourself or your family or landscapes on holiday when we can. But this covers all of that. 4K 30 ability, 2.7K 60 frames per second now. You can zoom into those photos, you can zoom in to video. As you've seen, I can now zoom in up to 4 times in HD and 2 times in 4K. So this video I was able to fly over this boat and zoom in from a decent distance away and zoom straight in. You can then, because of that 4K, crop in even more when you're editing your footage. So you're going to get some really nice photos and videos out of this drone. It's a massive step up from that Mavic Mini 1 in that quality difference. You also get 100 megabits per second. So before it was 40, it's 120 on the Mavic Air. Not much difference. So go for this drone, £419 for the base model, or go up to the Fly More combo, going to give you those extra batteries, the propeller guards, a few more accessories, a nice case, charging ability on it. So go for that. This drone for now, January 2021, is the best drone you can buy. Excellent, fantastic, fun drone. And the best selling feature is it's really portable and easy to carry around with you. This controller, this is all you need and it all connects to your phone. Away you go. So I highly recommend it. What do you guys think? Have you got one of these? Are you thinking of picking one up? For now, the UK, the only drone you should get is this one because of them new restrictions. A year ago, a few months ago, I'd have said go for the Mavic Air, but not now. Anyway, I hope you found that helpful, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.